90 billion land animals are killed every year for consumption and other purposes as well throughout the farm industry. And my position is that I feel that the church, and when I say church, I guess in this situation we can mean the Roman Catholic Church, but
generally broader.
But I call out my church, the Protestant background. I call all the Christian church at large, the body, the people, has either willingly or unknowingly betrayed the animals and betrayed God's creatures in not understanding the way in which Jesus' position of the kingdom of heaven on earth extends to animals. And so, I'll open with that and see where you want to go with it, and we can go from there.
So I'm really glad you said that, actually, because the Catholic Church actually has a teaching on this. If you look up, I don't know off the top of my head what paragraph it is, but if you look up the Catechism of the Catholic Church, its teachings on animals, the Catholic Church has always been against animal cruelty, that, animals as living creatures do have a type of dignity that does need to be respected. And the Catholic Church has actually indeed has said a few things, the magisterium has said a few things here and there about some of the unethical, practices that you might see on farms, about the way that they treat animals. The church actually has had a little bit to say about that. So we can actually be on the same page there, where we can be in total agreement that there are some practices that would be immoral, that would be even evil, that we shouldn't be, condoning.
Yeah, and I think we would be not only between us on the same ground, but even with our Orthodox brothers, that the church fathers, the saints, talk about animal lovers, animal respecters, the who's who list of all the fathers are just epic. Saint Francis of Assisi. We can just stop there.
He preached to the animals, man.
Right.
We talked about that with George, I remember.
That's right.
He preached the gospel to animals. Yeah. And the church has always taught about, has always talked about that, has always said that all of creation has an intrinsic dignity. All of creation.
Right.
Not just human beings, but non-human animals. Everything that God made is good. Right. It has an intrinsic value and a God-given dignity that has to be respected, while at the same time understanding that there are certain creatures that exist for a particular purpose, and that their existence and their living their lives can and be ordered towards the common good or the greater good, that is a valid concept in Catholic social teaching. But no, we all agree that there is intrinsic dignity and value for all of creation.
Awesome. I want to get to that, some of the frameworks of that practical use kind of conversation there. But before that, I just want to further reiterate and reflect. Saint Francis of Assisi, even the Pope that passed, bless him,
Pope Francis,
that's his namesake. He did a number of things for the animals. There's contention on how much of it was followed through. I know it's hard with the logistics and the things that go on. But I will say, we both will definitely agree, I'm sure, the Great Commission that's laid out in the Synoptics. But in one sense, it says, go and preach the good news to all nations, right? And the Greek is that ethnos or whatnot, which actually can still mean herds of animals and flocks in its second meaning.
Right.
But then in the Mark version, which is debatable because it's in the long ending of Mark, and but it says good news to all creatures, creation. So it's even more specific. So I think we would share that commonality in that it's a restoration of all.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Because we even the Old Testament has a lot to say about how all creatures actually cry for God or even worship God. And also we with our eschatology, we have the belief of the new heaven and the new earth, that everything is going to be restored. It's not just human beings that get restored; it's all of creation that gets restored. When our Lord returns. So we always have to have that in mind, with everything that we do, the eschatological, framework of how things will look, when our Lord returns. He restores, because Jesus he doesn't just save and sanctify just humans. It's really all of creation that is sanctified by Jesus Christ, and that's something that I think people kind of forget, that they don't realize that it's not just us, it's his whole creation. So,
right.
Yeah.
So at minimum, we agree that this topic's important.
Yeah.
Awesome. Because what I often find, I was dealing with it this morning when I woke up and I had to get into some work and reply to some comments and emails and different things.
Yeah.
And often, I will see from the Christian position that it's like, why are we even talking about this? Who cares?
Right.
But I would just want to reemphasize, it sounds like it's what you're saying, but it's what I truly believe, that God's creatures and the kind of dominion mandate that's laid out in Genesis 1:26 through 30, which is really, it lays the groundwork and the framework for this kingdom of heaven vision that's going to be restored. It's a new Eden, right? It's a restoration of what was from the beginning.
Right.
And in this dominion framework in Genesis 1:26 through 30, I want to focus on that for a second, because this, I think, will help us have the conversation around the practical use kind of conversation.
Sure.
So in those verses, starting in 1:26, God gives man dominion over the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, the beasts of the livestock, and even the wild animals. And then in the following verse, after Genesis 1:28, in Genesis 1:29, we're prescribed a plant-based diet. Now, again, I don't want to focus too much on the dietary aspect. Really, what I see that as a reflection is God's giving us sustenance where we don't need to take the life of any of these creatures, because that wasn't the original intention. And that dominion is actually a stewardship. And we can get into the Hebrew and all the words that are used there if you want to. I think that'd be cool. But I feel we don't even have to, because I think Pope Francis' position, if I remember correctly, was that dominion is a stewardship mandate. Right. So then the question is, if our original it's really our first mandate as humanity, I mean, along with be fruitful and multiply. Right. If our first mandate as humanity is to have stewardship with the animals, to really serve, enhance flourishing for ourselves, for others, and God's creatures, and the planet at large. Right. And a part of that stewardship includes no slaughter. Then how do we justify the slaughter that's taking place today?
Sure.
At the tune of 90 billion land animals.
I did fact check that too on ChatGPT. Yeah. 80 to 90 billion land animals.
That's just land animals. If you include fishes, it becomes trillions. It's countless.
Sure. Yeah, fishes is 1 to 3 trillion.
And we can get into this. Let's segment it, because I don't want to get lost in too many things, but we can pin it for later if you want to address it. That's just talking about the animals. The humans that are involved in those systems are detrimentally affected as well, from the workers, slavery at sea, the people that slaughter all day long, they're prison workers and immigrants, let alone the people actually consuming and all the health conditions and things that come along with it. But we can, if we get there, we get there. But I just wanted to, I want to voice it, because sometimes I think people think I only care about animals and I don't care about humans too. I care about humans too. I just think this core issue, there's like blinders. There's blinders on about it.
Okay. Very interesting. So one of the things that you said was about, originally before the fall of Adam and Eve, that we had the plant-based diet, right? Genesis 1:28, and maybe we want to
1:29.
1:29. I don't know. Maybe we want to pull that up. Genesis 1:29, because something that's very interesting is that
I just pulled it up. Then God said, "I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food."
Sure. So right there, God says that He gives us all of the things that are, that grow, vegetation, right? So it's, because we're talking about the intrinsic value of all life. And I'm sure that you would agree also that even like vegetation has an intrinsic value, because we can agree that even vegetation itself is living, right? So would you make a distinction between the slaughter of animals for food, and because, as we all know, whenever we eat even vegetation and we cultivate, we crop and we, cultivate, that involves the death of something, right?
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode.